What's going on, guys? It's J Fred, and I have seen Captain America Brave New World. I've had the night to think about it, and here are my thoughts on the movie. Obviously, there are spoilers in this video for Captain America Brave New World, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and don't want it spoiled, come back later and watch this video after you've seen it. I'm just going to come out and say it right off the bat. I like the movie. I guess that's a hot take compared to whatever else is saying. I personally think that everyone else is over-exaggerating when it comes to this movie. All these critics, haters, reviews, everything. You can't make me hate you, Cap. I will be defending this movie. This is going to be one of those movies that you will defend over time. First and foremost, I think Anthony Mackie is great in this movie. He is exactly what I wanted to see, and he's what I wanted the character to progress in this movie. I think he solidifies himself as Captain America in this movie, and I fully see the vision now that he will be the leader of the new Avengers going forward. I can see it. He can do it. Another thing I want to point out is, other than the people that are just hating to hate, if you can't see Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson as Cap just yet, we had Steve Rogers playing our Captain America for 11 years and 7 movies. Sam Wilson didn't get to be Captain America till the final episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and this is his first movie here. So if you don't see it just yet, I think this movie takes the right steps in that direction, and just give him time. Be a little bit patient, because I think this man is going to play a great Cap. I think that Harrison Ford was a tremendous choice to play Thunderbolt Ross. He's as good and strong as he ever has been, and he stole the show for me. Personally, I think in the back of my head, I'm always going to wonder what William Hurt's performance would have looked like if he got to progress the character in this way. Rest in peace to him, but there was no disservice to his character at all, and I think Harrison Ford did a great job. As far as the Red Hulk goes, what you've seen, as in all you're getting in the movie, is what we've seen in the promo trailers. I have to say that is pretty much true, but I think that is a great choice in the film. I think the progression of Thunderbolt Ross's character to getting to that point is a focal point in the movie. It is very important. So what we get of the Red Hulk, I think, is what we needed, and I don't know if we needed a whole lot more. Plus, the Red Hulk performance, that final fight is just worth the price of admission to begin with. But it is the Hulk we have been waiting for forever. I think it was great. I love Red Hulk. When it comes to Captain America Brave New World, we all know kind of the trouble that it went through behind the scenes, all these reshoots and everything. And I think the reshoots and everything are evident in some areas. There are a bunch of different subplots going around that they don't dive too far deep into. And I think, it kind of jars you off a little bit. And I think some characters are a little bit underutilized. I think the leader, he could have been a great villain. He was an average to good villain. I think you really could have dove into him a little bit more. Same with Sidewinder, Giancarlo Esposito's character. He's great in every performance he's in. Like, come on, you have to agree with that. But I think you could have used him a little more. He wasn't in the movie very much, and I think an actor of that caliber who can perform at that caliber for you, you got to use him a little bit more, and I think he's a little bit underutilized as well in this movie. But I gotta say, through all the trouble and all these little things that the movie went through, they still presented us with a coherent story in this movie, which I think is thoroughly impressive, and I think this movie does progress, and it gives us a good story. I do have a few nitpicks about this movie, though. Things that agitated me about this movie that could have easily been fixed. First off, the Marvel Studios intro. What are we doing here, Marvel? Like, we didn't get the classic Marvel Studios intro in this movie, and that's something that just kind of set me off on the wrong foot immediately for this movie. I get they were trying to go for a certain tone, I guess, flashing it in black and white really quickly, but if you're going to set the tone in this movie, you change the audio and still play the intro. Infinity War, Endgame, both didn't have the classic Marvel Studios theme in there, but it set the tone immediately, and we got to see it. Add an extra 30 seconds to your runtime and keep the regular intro, please, because that, like I said, it set me off on the wrong foot immediately for this movie. My second thing right here, I'm going to put some pictures up, is the leader's design right here. Like, at some point, the leader's design had to be something like this, because we have the Funko toys, we have promo images of this, and people will complain regardless of what the design is, but I think this is a better design than what we ended up getting. I get they went for a more realistic approach to if gamma radiation actually leaked into your forehead and messed with your brain, and so they gave him more of like the lumpy like brain actually coming out of his head, and so I understand that, but the more comic accurate like design we I guess had at some point was a lot better, and I guess it would have I don't know. Personally, that would have been a lot better for me. And lastly, the post-credit scene here. Like, you could have gone without a post-credit scene, honestly. I think the post-credit scene was very useless, in my opinion. This easily could have taken place, like this conversation that happens in the post-credit scene, easily could have taken place at the end of the movie, and if you wanted a post-credit scene, you could have done something else. You obviously kind of have to hint at the future about the multiverse, so I get that. Does it get you excited? Okay, yeah, it does, because it lets Sam Wilson, the leader of the New Avengers, know something's coming. But it literally was like, oh my gosh, we don't have a post-credit scene. We have to throw one in real quick, because I'm not one to complain about CGI, green screen stuff. I know when it's bad, but that's not gonna like change my entire opinion of a movie. But when that post-credit scene came up, that is like the worst green screen I have ever seen. Like, it literally was like, okay, we're doing this in reshoots and we forgot to do a post-credit scene. Let's throw this in one here. Anthony, stand in front of this green screen right here because we have to do this real quick. Having the leader explain that conversation to him makes sense. I mean, he's smart enough to kind of calculate the things going forward. But like I said, this conversation easily could have taken place at the end of the movie, and you could have maybe teased something else. So that's another thing that kind of agitated me. Overall in this movie, I think Anthony Mackie gives a performance that carries the heart of what Captain America still is. And so that I loved about it. We also got a little cameo from our boy, Sergeant Bucky Barnes, in this movie, and his little speech he gave Cap. That it means a lot to me. You know, I think that was a great little cameo. And this movie, like I said, it carries the heart of Captain America, who he is, and I think that Sam Wilson puts a little bit of a different spin that doesn't hate or disservice anything that Steve did, but it helps the character as a whole. So overall, like, you know, I liked what Anthony Mackie did in this movie, and I like what Captain America as a character did in this movie. And the last thing I'll say about this movie is that it moves the MCU forward. Ever since Endgame, we've had all these different projects and characters introduced, and they're all over the place, and even in attempts to try to connect the story going forward, it really doesn't work. We've had everything going on with Jonathan Majors and Kang, had to scrap that. And it kind of feels like we just needed this movie, whether you like it or not, to be a little bit more grounded and move the MCU forward. It turns the page of the MCU and gets us going where we need to go with Doomsday and Secret Wars. And that is a win in my eyes. Let me know what you guys thought of Captain America Brave New World. If you've seen it, comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what else you want to see on my channel going forward. See you guys next time.